Okay guys, here's a short little video on cleaning out your dryer vent. In case you haven't done this before, a shop vac comes in very handy. I'm sure you can do it with a vacuum cleaner too, but shop vacs have more power and they can actually blow as well as suck. So, sounds like some girls I know. But anyhow, so basically you just tape that up. It doesn't have to be beautiful around your little hose, flexible hose that comes out of the dryer, and basically it disconnects right down bottom there. There's one little Phillips head screw which you just undo the clamp and then you can plug that off. Now this hose runs behind the wash machine, and I actually had like a table across this that I had to pull out, so that was the hardest part, was actually removing that table because it's screwed in into the wall and then it goes across. So once that's done, you pull out your dryer, which is way lighter than your wash machine, disconnect that hose, do what I did there, just kind of stick the vacuum cleaner hose inside the flexible hose. And the first I actually had it on suction. So I actually did the suction, whatever it was going to pull out was going to come through that hose. And then basically I flicked it on the blower, and the blower will actually blow any other debris through the hose out the little port on the side of your house. So I'm going to flick this on and then we'll go outside and show you what I'm talking about, how the pressure will just kind of blow it out. So I'm going to flick this on real quick. So my port really isn't super easy to get at because I originally was out here at first and I tried to use the vacuum cleaner from this side. I stuck the hose into this little port here and wanted to see if there was anything stuck at the end. You can hear how that air is flowing out, and I can feel major pressure of the air blowing out onto the ground here. So as long as you feel that and nothing else is coming out, you obviously don't have a clog. My wife basically was thinking that this thing was due, and I didn't really think it was due, but I wanted to just make sure because it better be safe than sorry at the very end, because it's not all that hard to do this, but it could be tedious sometimes. But you can see there I got a lot of pressure coming out of here, so I'm pretty confident that there's no clogs, there's no any of that debris built up inside the hose. There's nothing clogging this port. Sometimes an animal or whatever can get up here and try to build a nest or whatever, and that can kind of screw you up too, but there's nothing in here. I moved my hand all around in here and there's nothing clogging it. So that's how simple it is. Then basically it'll be the reverse. I'll just attach the hose back to the dryer and then push the dryer back, put the table on top of both, and then that will be it. So that's as easy as it is. Save yourself some money and do it yourself. Peace. Okay, so real quick, after inspection, this back here, and sorry about my cool little slippers, but this was pretty dirty back here. It had a lot of lint and stuff. Not terribly bad, but there was lint back here. So before I put this hose back on, I was looking at it, and always make sure you inspect this hose. And there was a tear, there was a few tears in it. That's something you don't want definitely on this dryer, because wherever there's a hole, a pinhole probably isn't bad, but you can't have something big like this, because this will just let all the lint and stuff, not all of it, but lint is going to shoot out of this thing. And that's where I think the lint was coming from behind the dryer. It's probably from this hole. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut, because there's wire in this little hose here. I'm going to cut the wire, bring it back, because I have plenty of length here. I'm just going to bring it back and eliminate this hose, hole, I should say. And I will show you when I'm done what it's going to look like, so bear with me. Okay, so I cut it with the razor knife, which could have done better. It's kind of a dull blade on there, but and then basically folded the edges over, and that's the piece that I cut off with these little wire snips. Any type of wire snip will cut through that. Basically took that piece off that had the rip in it. Putting the clamp a little lower on here to make sure that I have wire around the whole thing, but when I put it on, I'll see if that has enough to reach what I need to reach when I tighten it down. I'll push it forward on there and stuff, but basically there was some like edge left over and I just folded it down. The direction is blowing through this thing, so when you fold it over, it's not going to affect anything. So that's it so far. That's the old piece, and always make sure you do that, because once again, you don't want to mess behind your items as well, because that's another way that a fire could happen, is if, you know, you get a bunch of debris behind your stuff. So, all right. Okay, so as a finished product, that clamp is on pretty tight. I chose to use a manual screwdriver to tighten it up with. I didn't really feel comfortable with an electric screwdriver or whatever. Got a cordless drill, but I didn't want to over tighten it. But as you tighten that down, I kept pulling back on it, and until I really grogged it down, this thing was trying to come off. So that is pretty tight now on there, so this isn't going anywhere. And just remember, when you're pushing this thing back, try to be as careful as you can not to, you know, really shove it into the wall, because if you crease this thing, put like a 90-degree in it, and it pinches or whatever, it's not going to do the job it's intended to do, and you could back it up that way. You always want to make sure you have like the smoothest type angle you can. So even if you can't push it all the way back, leave it out a little bit so this thing doesn't pinch on you. But that's on nice and tight now. There's no holes in it anymore, so I shouldn't get any debris back here. All right, that should about do it. I'm going to basically push this thing back, put the top back on, and that should do it for this project. But once again, see, you can save yourself some money if you're kind of like do-it-yourselfer, and this is a pretty easy job to do. All right, stay safe, peace out.